Hi friends, welcome back. I am Tara T with Old Soul Factory, and here on YouTube we do all kinds of crochet content, so thanks for tuning in for this week's video. This week I have some projects I need to kind of wrap up. I have some custom orders that I have been tasked with, and I am notorious for putting these kinds of things off, and I just want to get them off my list. They just loom over me and just get heavier and heavier the longer I put them off, obviously. So I want to get them done. I want to mail them out this week, and I want to get them all wrapped up and finished, but they are big projects. So let's just jump into what we have for this week. So far, this is the first one I really feel like I need to get done. This is going to be Nine Tails from Naruto. I will put a little picture here of what the anime is. He's like this little character from the show. I've personally not watched the show. I don't really know who he is or what he does necessarily on the show, but I was tasked with making a custom after the anime market. I had somebody reach out and ask me for one, so here we are making this pattern for the first time. So far we have his body, his little thighs, his little feet, his little front legs. I'm starting his head right now, which I'm very excited about because, of course, the best part of every plushie, I feel like, is getting to pick out the eyes, especially when it's a big custom plushie like this and you get to pick out some perfect glitter eyes to go with whatever project that you're making. So let me show you what eyes that we have for this plushie. These are the best eyes I feel like I could find that kind of matched the vibe of this character. I think from the reference pictures I have, he kind of has like orangey red eyes. They kind of go from like orange to red sometimes from my understanding. Again, I know very little knowledge about all of this, but from my understanding, that's what I know. So I got Ember Eyes from the ADHD Hobbyist. She's over on Instagram. She does drops and stuff. We talk about her all the time over here. I love Claire. She's one of my friends in the crochet community, and she just crushes it every time. She has the prettiest eyes. You've definitely seen me unbox some really pretty sets from her, some really unique colors and styles and all those things. So I'm very excited that we get to use these big 30mm eyes. I bought some other sizes just in case. The pattern originally was in more of like a Sweet Snuggles light, like chenille kind of yarn. So I'm using Premier Basic Chenille Brights. I'm using this color of orange. It is called Tangerine. I've not used Premier Basics before either, really. I had bought a few skeins. There's a few of them back here on my shelf hiding back there, but I haven't really used too many of these of this kind of yarn. I think I've used it like once or twice for some little things here and there, but using it for a full project like this has been really fun. I know that since Joann's is closing, a lot of people are looking for alternatives and some more color selections and those kinds of things. I would definitely keep this one on your radar. The consistency of the yarn itself is perfect. I'm now on my second skein of this orange color too, and I am obsessed with it. It is definitely a little bit thinner than like actual Bernat yarn, though. I would say it's the same texture. It's maybe a little bit softer than some of the skeins that you can get, but it's definitely on the softer side. But it's most comparable to like Bernat Mystical and Frosting, how those two yarns are like a little bit smaller than the basic like baby blanket or just blanket yarn in general. The baby blanket can be a little bit smaller too sometimes depending on the color you get, but it's definitely on like the smaller Bernat side. If you have experience with yarn and plushies and stuff, you totally know what I'm talking about. So this yarn has been perfect for this project so far. The color match was perfect. I couldn't find anything in Bernat that matched quite as well. I know that Bernat has like an orange brights, like in their brights collection they have an orange, but anyways, it did not match quite as well. And I have experience with the bright yarns and they seem to always be that rough Bernat formula, and I didn't want that either. So this was the perfect option. And so since we're doing this, I sized down my hook as well, since this yarn is a little bit thinner. So I'm using a 5.5. For Bernat, I go between like a 6 and a 5.5, so I just went ahead and went with the 5.5. I probably could have got away with a 5 as well. I probably could have sized down another half size, but I'm loving how it's turning out, and I wanted it to be just a little bit bigger, just for the price and everything that I'm charging. It just felt right for it to be a little bit bigger. So we have a lot done already. Like I said, we had already finished the legs, and then we did the body, and then you had to do the little thighs on the side, sew them on, and then you had to do the little feet As you can see when he's like sitting down or whatever, you can see his little feet sticking out. Very, very cute. Anyways, very excited about how it's turning out so far. We have the whole head. He has some big ears. He has some black patches on his face as well. And his name is Nine Tails, so of course he has 9 tails. So we've got to also make all of those, sew them, attach them together, sew them on, however that works in the pattern. But I'm very excited about that. The next custom plushie that I need to get into for this week is another toothless dragon. I had somebody ask me for a commission for one that looks like the one I had in my last market, with that Feels Like Bliss sterling color with the blue iridescent eyes with the white pupils. So I looked at my little collection back here, and I don't really have much, if any, of that left. I think I found a little bit of that skein left, but like I said, I didn't have very much at all. So I ordered some yarn, so I want to unbox that real quick and see which colors I got in. I know that I had ordered some other fun yarns and stuff while I was on there. I mentioned this in my last video. I bought some different colors of Feels Like Bliss because I've personally become really accustomed to it and I really like it. And I think I have several patterns out there that would be really cute in that yarn. So let's unbox it and see what colors came in this package. So here we have our little Michaels box. I have not ordered from Michaels online in a while, and they had some good sales going on, so I went ahead and bought some stuff with, I had a rewards voucher, I had a coupon as well. They had like 30% off of all their yarn, I believe, or like any regular priced item that you put in your cart, and I believe that none of the Feels Like Bliss yarn was on sale if I remember right. So I got a really good deal for all of this, so we will open it up and I will let you know what everything cost real quick. For each of these skeins, it ended up being $6.30 total, and I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 skeins of Feels Like Bliss. I had some other cotton yarns as well in my cart, but if you know me, you know my cotton collection is growing faster than I'm actually using it, so I opted out of that. So I'm just gonna give myself a little pat on the back for not giving in to the impulse yarn buying for once. Oh my gosh, these colors are so pretty. Okay, let's go through them really quickly. And I will show you the colors specifically that I'm going to use for my toothless as well. Okay, so again, super fun colors in here. I didn't even realize they had this many colors, but we will just go through them really quickly. We have Sage. It's just like a really pretty sage green color. We have Buttercup. Again, a very warm, cute yellow color that will go well with all of these. We have Dusty Rose. This color fits perfectly, I feel like, in this collection as well. I need it for blush and maybe to make a pink dragon in the future. I got 2 in the color Slate. Again, this would be perfect for like a classic toothless little fuzzy dragon. I think that would be so cute. And there's so many fun things to make in black, like bumblebees as well, which is also why I got the yellow. I now have the black, and I already have several of the white skeins as well, so definitely something to keep in mind for the future. Next we have Aqua. I love this color so much. It's definitely a little bit more saturated in person than it shows up on camera, but it is super, super pretty. And then last but not least, we have the color I will be making this custom order in, but this is Sterling. It's just a very light yellow, almost, or yellow. It's a very light gray. It's almost like a very light cool toned gray, which is just a very beautiful color. So I love this one very much, but as you can see, all of these colors go together so well together. Obviously the gray and the black do, but these other colors are definitely more of like a, I don't want to say pastel version of these colors, but they're definitely a more muted color palette almost. I know the yellow doesn't look like it, but trust me, it feels like more muted, like it kind of fits in with this color palette as well. So these are all great colors to add to the collection. I'm just gonna have to clear up some space up there and add them to my little yarn wall in the back, but we will have the gray for whenever we start the project. I made sure I had the right eyes as well before I ordered my yarn again. That way I'll have everything to sit down and make this project hopefully in like a day and a half or so, because as you know, I work full-time, so I only have so many hours in the evening, and it is a lot of pieces to sew together and things. Also at this time, I feel like it's worth mentioning that I do use KP Crochet Creations Nova the Fury Dragon pattern, specifically the little fuzzy one I had at my last market was the snuggler version, but every pattern pack I believe has a snuggler and the plushie version in the same pack, if I remember right. So I have patterns for both, and I had a brown and a black one in the plushie version, and then the little tiny furry Feels Like Bliss one was the snuggler version, because I just thought it would be cuter without it stuffed and everything. So she also recently came out with, I think it's called Nyx, like NYX, and I think it's Nyx the Fury Dragon, and it's like an even smaller version, so it's like her smallest one to date, and it looks like it would literally be like this big. And then I'm imagining it in like, well, minus the tail obviously, but I think he'd be like this big, and then I'm imagining him and like Feels Like Bliss, he'd be like this big. Like, I think he would be so tiny and cute, which is also why I bought more of that yarn, because I think the tinier things are, the cuter they are. So I'm very excited to make some miniature little dragons in that in a future video, but for now we need to finish our customs. So we will be continuing on crocheting on this dragon, or this, he's not really a dragon, but on this custom plushie head. For now we will just be grinding this week. Also, do you see the bruise on the back of my hand from work? That's crazy. And there's a little one right here too. I'm just getting beat up at work. And my watch tan line, but ignore that. Ignore that, please. I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but I've ran into this a few times, and I feel like I want a better solution for this. First off, yes, I am sitting cross-legged in my office chair, because that is how I always sit whenever I'm in my chair, especially if I am crocheting. That's how I always sit, okay? So don't judge me there. But I love to crochet in my office chair, right? I always like to keep my yarn on my left side, because I pull from my left since I'm crocheting with my right. You know how it goes. So the one thing I always hate though about this stupid office chair is that my yarn, if my blanket's not over my handle on the side of my chair, my yarn will slide through and fall on the ground sometimes. And then I'm like, I'll go to like pull my yarn, and I'm like, where did my skein go? And then I freak out for a second before I realize it's almost always on the floor right next to my chair, because it falls out. It falls through the little hole in the side, the little loop, you know, the little armhole. So I feel like maybe in a future video, just to put this out there, so hopefully I remember this, I need to make like a little like crocheted pouch or something that goes on the side of my office chair maybe, because I don't even, like, my chair doesn't even get pushed underneath my desk, you know, like this is just my desk space, you know what I mean? So it would be fine if I had like a little bucket or something. Otherwise, I feel like I need to get a little cart to put over here by my window, so we can like keep our crochet like yarn or whatever we're working with over here and just pull from it. And maybe like a little yarn bowl too. I feel like that would really help as well. But just a random little thought. This is the biggest round on the entire project so far, because his head's like bigger than his body. I don't know, maybe the body had a row that was a little bit bigger. Let me double check before I like jinx myself here. Nope, this is definitely a little bit bigger, but the head's biggest round right now is 40 or 50 total. And so I'm doing just single crochet rounds right now that are 50 stitches, and that's a lot for a plushie, I feel like. So I'm glad I charged what I charged for this custom because it's definitely a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. Okay, luckily we have a few decreases in the next row, but still not a lot of decreases. I'm definitely noticing with this pattern as well, both the body and the head are coning a little bit on the top, and usually my patterns don't do that whenever I work it up, so I'll just have to remember whenever I'm stuffing to kind of stuff it on a flat surface so it doesn't push out those top couple rows. And I definitely should have stopped probably before now, and if I would have thought about it sooner, if that happens for you and it gets like pointy like this, usually I skip the first row and I go ahead and start with the second row. So like the first row on this one is 6 single crochet and a magic ring, and usually if I have that, I'll just skip and I'll do the next step, which in this case would be 6 increases, so 12 stitches total. So usually I would just go ahead and start with the magic ring with 12 in it to avoid that little cone from the first magic ring. But again, I didn't really think about it until I was like into the bigger rows, and I was not frogging it for that when I could just, you know, keep it flat when I'm stuffing the head later and it will turn out fine like this. So but definitely keep that in mind if you have that problem.
Great sword, let's go. Finally I get Guts' sword, bro. My pretty. My pretty.
I like how I just turned my camera on to
What?
I just turned my camera on to film because you were being pretty quiet, and I was like, oh, I can film a clip real quick. He's being nice and quiet. The second I turned it on, you're go, my pretty.
He's my pretty.
Hi guys, it's the next day. I'm going to update you on what we ended up getting done last night and just let you know what I have on the docket for today. So last night, like I said, I opened up my second skein of the basics yarn, and I almost finished the head. I have a few more decrease rows. You do sew the head onto the body, so I will be leaving a tail, and I'm pretty sure, I didn't read far enough ahead, but I'm pretty sure I don't close it up all the way and I sew it directly onto like the little neck that we made, and I'll just stuff it really tightly in there so it stays up nice and straight. So I'm very excited about that part coming up in just a second. So we will be doing that. And then as you can see, there is no eyes on the head. There's one little stitch marker in the middle. That's where the middle of the head is. That's where you were supposed to place a safety nose if you have one, and I am not doing that. I'm just going to embroider a little nose on its face. I looked, and I know that everybody gets those little starter sets of like safety eyes. I feel like when they start crocheting, I'll put like a little picture here, but it usually comes with like a few sets of eyes and sometimes like a few sets of like the little button noses, and I still have some of those, and I looked, but I think that they're a little too small, and the ones I have are kind of textured, like they have little dots on it, like they're for a bear or a dog or something. So I'm not going to be using those. I will just embroider them on, which is totally fine. But whenever you obviously make the head, there's no eyeballs on it yet. We make these black patches that go across and go up the ears that we sew on later, and those have the eyes directly into them, so I will be putting them on there. And so I don't have to worry about that yet, which is kind of sad because, like I said, I started the head thinking I would get to put them on, but I guess I didn't read far enough ahead to really think that through. But we will be continuing crocheting this evening and see how far we get on this. I'm hoping I can at least finish the head and maybe even the ears tonight, and then hopefully I can start on the black that goes across the ears and the eyes like I just said. It's been a long day, back from work, I'm showered, I'm clean, I'm in my comfy clothes, and I'm ready to crochet, so let's get started. Hello friends, it is time to continue crocheting. I have gotten a lot done, I feel like, since I last checked in, if I remember right. but we have a lot to still do. We are working on our anime fox, as it is called in the pattern, and I have quite a bit done. We finished the body, the head, one ear, and I'm almost done with the second ear. I'm gonna finish that up really quickly, and let's see what is next in this pattern. We are over halfway through the pattern at least. This is a big pattern though, I can't lie to you. So we're gonna finish this ear, and then we're gonna work on the inner ears, which is the black section. So I have my black sitting out. I'm ready to go. I had work today. I took a shower, got my comfier clothes, and I'm just ready to go while the sun is still up, and I've still got the motivation for it. So I'm looking forward to this. I have been working on my Minecraft bee pattern on this side, which, as you have seen, cutie patootie, that should be the next video as well for you guys. I talk a bit about the process, the tester process, the designing process, the embroidery process, all of those things, and what I had to change compared to some of my older patterns. So I'm really excited about this though, and this pattern is adorable, and I can't wait to share it with all of you guys. So hopefully very, very soon you will see that in my Etsy shop as well. So go follow my Etsy shop if you want to know when it is released and ready. So I'm gonna finish up this ear and then continue on the inner ears. The only thing is I am a little unsure of what to watch right now. I finished You. It was fantastic, as all of the other seasons were. I started and finished the show Sirens on Netflix, which is a new limited series. It was very good. It was kind of like a psychological show. Like, you really didn't know what was happening or who was the good guys, who was the bad guys kind of deal in the show until you kind of get to the end. So that was like a cool, fun show to watch and something different. And then I think I'm going to start watching something a little more lighthearted, since both of those were a little heavy, I guess. So I think I'm going to start watching the 4 seasons. It has Mr. Michael Scott in it, but it's not really Michael Scott, you know, it's Steve Carell. But it also has Tina Fey and some other really well-known actors and stuff, and it's kind of like about, from my understanding so far, it's kind of about like a group of friends and their vacations and how they change throughout the years and how they kind of realize that they're getting older and those kinds of things, and like some of the life things that they're going through as they're getting older. It's like a really like funny, quirky show, something easy to watch in the background, short episodes, since the last few have been like hour-long episodes for the shows that I've been watching. So I'm excited to start something different as well. But definitely drop your recommendations down below. I need some more shows to watch. I go through shows very, very fast because I watch them on my lunch break while I'm at work, and I watch them when I'm crocheting and home. And me and my boyfriend have our own shows that we watch together, but we can't watch them without each other, of course, because if you know, that's like a sacred trust thing, okay? You can't break that. You have to watch them together. Otherwise, what are you doing? With that being said, I'm going to get started, or I should say finish up this other ear. I have some single crochet rows now to complete in order to finish it so that it matches the other one, and then we'll do the black part and you'll see that, and I'll update you, of course. Hi friends, it's the next day. I got a lot done yesterday. I did mostly sewing and placing of the face patches, and I want to show them to you before I sew them on and just show you the madness that goes into sewing things onto crochet plushies. I know a lot of people are like, we need no sew patterns, we need low sew patterns for market makes and stuff, and to people who are newer to crochet, that might not make a lot of sense because you don't know how time consuming it might be. But this is right before I'm just about to sew on literally just these patches that have the eyes on them, just those black patches right here in the middle, not even all the way up the ear. I already had to pin those and sew those on, but these patches, I had to line them up as close as I could possibly get to the ear. The backs of them aren't like completely pinned because I'll pull them back and I want to be able to reach the little crease behind it where it's gonna go. But yeah, this is like the madness right now. I have two knitting needles basically pushed through the plushie right here and right here, and then I have 3 stitch markers total holding each one of these panels in. So I have a stitch marker on the top, a stitch marker on the bottom, and one in the front point. One in the front point, bottom, top. Okay, same thing. I had to place them, figure out where the eyes were gonna go, what direction the eyes should go whenever putting them in, and then put the safety eyes in, and then put the pieces back on the rest of the way because I had to just keep it pinned with this, flip it up, put the eye in, flip it back down, line it back up again, and make sure everything's going to be even because I only have one set of these safety eyes and I am not making these pieces again. So this has been a process. And the green stitch marker in the very middle of the face is where I'm supposed to put the nose. So I was making sure everything lines up and looks good and will turn out okay because this is a lot of work. This custom was expensive. Sorry if you can hear the train, but I'm getting ready to sew these pieces on. Wish me luck. Sewing pieces on is not necessarily one of my fortes. I wouldn't say it's one of my specialties by any means, so I've just got the longest tail in the world just in case, and I'm gonna go for it. Also, because I used sinker eyes, you can kind of see through the side there how the sinker eyes are kind of sitting on top of the orange. So there's a little bit of the black on the safety eyes that pokes through the back, and it's pushed down into the actual plushie head, but that obviously that washer is not going to get pushed down in there, so I'm gonna have to kind of pull this down a little bit and around the eye so that it's not like sticking up in the air either. So I'm gonna have to make sure I tighten these stitches nice and tight and make sure that they're good. I'm thinking I'm also gonna pull up the panels just a little bit after I get like maybe halfway around or so. At that point it's pretty locked in, but right before I kind of finish it up, I'm going to lift it up and maybe put some extra glue back there just to hold it in place, just in case, because this just worries me so much that something's gonna go wrong or something's gonna happen, yada yada. So I'm sore, I'm tired, I worked another long shift today, but we'll be back at it tomorrow. So I'm gonna crochet a little bit for now. I know that the boyfriend gets home tonight a little bit earlier than usual, so I don't know how much time I'll really have to be able to crochet tonight. So I'm gonna get as much done before he can get home, and then hopefully I'll have more time later tonight to crochet and show you at least an update of these pieces sewn on. Because the very last piece will be attaching the head to the body. That's next. Technically I was supposed to do that before I even like sewed on the ear patches or the face patches at all, but I wanted to be able to twist it and move it around and get all the right angles for it. And so I've just been placing it on top of the head or on top of this just to make sure that it's all lined up like it should be. But I am going to finish crocheting this and sewing this on, and we'll just check back in and see how we end up doing. I just hope I can do this successfully on the first try and not have to remove any stitches and like restart, because that's scary. Hello friends, we're back again today. I haven't worked on this custom as much as I was hoping to this week. I'm trying to test my Minecraft beat at the same time and stuff, and that'll be the next videos that you'll kind of hopefully see here soon. So I'm working on basically the last step really, other than some sewing. I have its body done completely. I don't know if I showed you the head done yet. So we have the head done with the eye patches and these beautiful eyes by the ADHD hobbyist. Of course, she's the one that's like provides 90% of the eyes I pretty much use on this channel. But these are just so gorgeous for this. I embroidered his little nose on as well. It's so cute. And then I'm working on the tails. Again, this is called Nine Tails. Like, this is the character or whatever from the anime show. So I'm making the tails right now. This is almost one of them. I still have some decreases and stuff to do, and you're stuffing as you go and all that not. So I still have about 4 rows left or so, and then you like sew them all to the back of the body essentially after you finish making them. So I have to make 9 of these total, and then we'll sew them all together, and then it'll be done. So then I can pack it up and get it ready to send out and stuff. I know that I mentioned to have a toothless to work on. I haven't even gotten to pick that up because I said that I was going to get this one done first. So I've been working on this one pretty diligently so far. So I think I'm going to put a pause on the custom order for now though and wrap up this video, because these tails will take forever and sewing it all together will take quite a while. So I'll have to give you a final little sneak peek next week whenever I finish it, hopefully. But otherwise, what we got done was a lot. When we first started this video, all I really had was... When we first started this video, all I had was the arms, and I had just started the actual body part, and we finished the thighs inside, sewed them on, the feet, we sewed them on, we got the whole head, the ears, the patches, put the eyes on, the nose placement we got done, and then again we're starting the tails. So we got a lot done, all considering. I know for some, I've had some people say in the past that that's all you got done in a week, but you do have to keep in mind I'm still full-time and my schedule's changing quite a bit for my full-time job, so I'm trying to keep up with both things at the same time. So it's very hard, especially when the plushie ends up being this massive as well. I feel like slowly we're getting more and more whips that we need to get done. I know I have a Camille the Sitting Cow, I have this custom order, I still need to start that toothless. I feel like I've made some new patterns in last week's video. If you saw that one, we took some sketches to actual plushie form, so we made some patterns for those, which was really fun. So I'm really excited about that as well. So I feel like we need to have another video coming up soon, maybe of finishing up some whips or just finishing everything and then showing you everything I've made for the week, because I know that a lot of people do those style videos too, and I don't really do those. I end up vlogging throughout the week, so you see everything anyways. Alrighty, with that being said, like I said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, especially if you want to see the final product hopefully coming up soon. And I hope you have a great week and a crafty week as well, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!